Hello and welcome to another episode of Design with Me, your teacher, Miss Keenan. So I said in the last video that I was going to focus on the pen tool, shapes, and I'll touch on color as well. So here I have just opened up a new artboard as I went over in the last video. Check that out if you don't know how to do that. And I'm going to go right to the pen tool. Again, when you hover over any of these tools, Adobe has this really nice little pop-up that tells you what that tool is, which is kind of nice. So this pen tool creates paths with precision using anchor points and handles. Let me show you what that means. Okay, I'm going to click it. Right now, we have a fill and a stroke on it, so that means the fill color of it is going to be white. The stroke on the outside of it is going to be black. All right, the way to use a pen tool. Usually you don't need to click and drag at first, so I'm just going to do one click, 1 point, all right? Then here you see this line coming out. This is basically the tangent of it, if you will. I'm going to click one more time, and then it creates a straight line. So I can continue going and going and going until I reach the end, and it almost locks back into place to the original anchor point. And if you can see that little O right beside my pen tool there, you can see that it's disappeared here. There it is. That means it's now closed the shape. So if I want, I could reverse swap the fill and stroke, and you could see it turns it black. Okay, gonna take that away, move this down. Let's do one with curves, because this is what the pen tool is really good at. So we're going to click once, we're going to click up here, we're going to create like an arc. And this time, instead of just clicking, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag out. So this part right here is basically the midpoint of this curve right now. Just like if I go over here, it's going to create more curves. But since I just clicked, I don't have that curve. Get it? But here I'm going to now curve it and say go back here. So basically the pen tool curves as you go. Got it? If you don't want this curve to be here at this point, all you got to do is click the anchor point again to reset it. Now say you've done all this, but now you kind of want them not to be so curvy. So what you're going to do, you're going to click and hold the pen tool and click on the anchor point tool. This will adjust a single anchor point, right? So I can make it more curvy or not at all curvy if I just click it. See? Or say like I accidentally did that and I want more of a curve. Here we go. Or say I want just this part to come in a little bit more. So I'm going to click on just this part of the curve tool, I guess, if you will, and I can change just one at a time. So again, I can do both, or I can do just one. All right. So this is good for designing all sorts of objects and things that aren't just regular shapes like squares and things. The other pen tool is a curvature pen tool, so it's always going to be kind of curvy. I can show you what it's like. So here, you're just gonna, it's just a natural curve, always curvy. Anyways, that's just the way it goes. So that one's a little bit strange for me, but if you want to use it, go for it. Personally, the pen tool is where it's at. You can do quite a lot with the pen tool. Next, I was going to talk about shapes, which I touched on earlier. But before I move on, I'm going to use my selection tool, delete what I have, and go back to these shapes. So here, if you click and hold, you've got a variety of shapes you can use, as I touched on last time. So say it's the square. If you click and hold, you're going to keep the proportions symmetrical, like so. So this is going to be a perfect square. You can always verify in your properties. Say you want it to be exactly 2 inches by 2 inches. You can type 2 by 2. Or I'm going to undo that for a second and I'll show you something else. Oops. Undo that. This tool right here will lock both the width and the height. So say you always want it to be whatever proportion it is, all you got to do is click that on and the little chain is on. So say this is 3 inches now, the height is also going to be 3 inches. This area here shows where it is transforming from. So say I want the shape to be transformed from the upper right. I'll show you what that means. Back to 1 inch square, it's going to go up to that side. So say I'm going to put it back to 3. So now again, it's coming out from that point. I'm going to do the opposite this time. Again, 1 point, and then it's going to go down to that side. So let's make it a little bit bigger so everyone can see. And I'm going to use this tool to align it somewhat in the middle. These dots on the near the corners create curve in your rounded corners rather. The corners, if you don't click shift, you can just make them however big you want. Clicking shift will keep the current proportion. All right. So ellipses are the same. You can click and you can say the width and height of it if you'd like. So say I want it 2 by 2, and then it's going to create a 2 by 2 inch circle. Again, in your properties, you can change that again, or you just click and drag your circle or some sort of ellipses. I'm going to undo that and show you the polygon tool. This one, when you click, it will tell you how many sides you want. So say you want 15 sides. It's not really great, but here we go. So if I zoom in, you know what? I'm going to choose a better option than that. Let's try again. So I'm going to click and I'm going to say 6 sides. So a really nice hexagon there. Again, this little dot right there close to the corners will round your edges, or round your corners rather, right? Which is a nice little tool. All right, so what do we have next? Oh, and if you want a triangle, use the polygon tool again. Just hit 3 and you've got a triangle. All right. Next up in line, we've got the star tool. Same thing, tells you how many points it's going to be. Let's do 5. The nice thing about the star tool is, let me zoom in for a second here and you can see. This dot right here that's right close to the inside, you can see the circle on the inside, which tells you how big the inside of this star is. So you can make a really tiny star, or like almost a non-star. So that's that. Again, on the outside, when you see one of these, almost like a donut thing, you can curve you can round your corners. Cool, there, and then these ones would be on the inside. Just in case you're looking for a less pointy star. All right, so I've touched on pen tool and the shape tool. Lines, I never ever use lines because I always will use a pen tool to make a line. There's no reason why you shouldn't. So unless somebody comes up with a good reason on why to use this line tool, I just haven't found one yet. We don't need it. So from here, I'd like to, excuse me, touch on color. So right now, all of these shapes here they have a white fill and a black stroke. If at any point I want to just reverse that, I just click this little arrow and it reverses it. If at any point I feel like I don't want the inside to have any color, I just click on this none color fill and then that gets rid of it all. Let me click here so you can see that this still is actually a shape. So now I have changed the outside line to be like 100% magenta. So here we go. Here's some ways to change the color. So if I'm gonna click on the fill color rather than the stroke color, that's how I know the one that's out front is the one that we're adjusting at that time, okay? So this has nothing, so I'm gonna just change it to black, and then I can adjust it here by changing the values of my CMYK values. So cyan, magenta, yellow, black, which makes every color for print, right? Let's make this a little bit of a nicer yellow. A little bit difficult with that. Anyways, so that's one way to do it. You can click on this appearance fill, and that has swatches in it. So we can make it whatever color we want here, that are part of your swatches. These are saved swatches that you can, like say we have a, I don't know, peachy color here, and we want that as part of our swatches. We're going to open up our swatch panel here and click add. You can call it peach or whatever, and now it's saved in your swatches. If you want to add a new folder, my colors, then whatever was selected will, like as part of this object, will be put into your folder here. All right, so you can reference them easy. So if you want this one again, without trying to figure out what color that was, you can just go to your fill and find it right here. So then it's the same. Cool. All right. Alternatively, say you have, you know, here, let's just make this a different color. So I'm gonna, ooh, I probably should have shown you how I did that. Okay, so here, let me just back up a little bit. All right, say I'm gonna pick a swatch color. Let's just go here again, just so that you can see that. So this is taking it right from my swatches. So I've called that peach, but say I want to go back to the CMYK values, I'm going to click on the little icon that has the 4 colors on it so I can adjust it. Make sense? I'm also going to take off this magenta. So I've clicked here on the stroke, and I'm going to click none. So there's no stroke on it. Also want to do the same thing here. Going to click on the background, none for the stroke. Don't want a stroke right now. So that's the basics of color, is you can adjust them here. There's also a color guide, which maybe I'll touch on, which is kind of neat. It will tell you complementary colors to whatever color you have currently selected. So say I want like a triad of colors, and I'm gonna now want this to be this color. And perhaps now that I'm seeing this all together, perhaps it would make sense to align these a little bit nicer with this color guide. So you can use the color guide if you're looking for color inspiration as well. Okay, so that's the basics of choosing color. We can go over gradient on a different day if it's a bit more complicated, but that is basically it for today. Let me know if you have questions. All right, see you in class. Bye.